Have you ever looked in the mirror and thought, I'm doing everything right, but it feels like it still won't be enough to get ahead? As if you won't be able to do things like buy a house or start a family, no matter how hard you work. What if I told you there's a way out? That there's a new opportunity in housing and a new way of living that we can build together. In fact, I'm going to show you 3 secrets behind the new housing model and a new way of living within an immersive, full-service real estate community built on human connection, without needing a mortgage or a down payment or even a 6-figure salary to afford it. Wouldn't that be really cool? Hey everyone, I'm Ely, co-founder of Elysium. My team and I have helped over 500 companies with business development campaigns, from Silicon Valley-based startups headed by ex-Fortune 500 teams and beyond. And today, we're using the amazing network we've built over the last 15 years to launch the first community of its kind that'll rewrite the rules of modern suburban living. In fact, we're supported by award-winning biophilic architects from MIT, interior design experts from Dubai, Cornell-trained horticulturalists, sustainable food experts, cruise line executive chefs, even former Disney Imagineers and Epic Universe planners. With that out of the way, and before I share these 3 secrets with you, I'm going to set the stage with a fun little story that's going to change the way you think forever. It's an old legend about Christopher Columbus and an egg. And it goes something like this. After Columbus returned back to Spain from his voyages, he was invited to dinner at the Queen's court. And so he arrives, people start congratulating him until one of the nobles there makes a sarcastic toast, mocking his discovery, and Columbus replied by asking one of the servants for an egg, a chicken egg. He placed it on the table in front of everyone and made a bet that no one can make the egg stand upright on its own. So the egg was passed around the table, and one by one, each person wasn't able to make it stand, until it came back to Columbus, and he took it, gently tapped one end against the table, just enough to flatten it a bit without breaking, and there it was. The egg stood. Now, I know what you're thinking. That's it. That was so obvious. And that's the point. Because the moment after a breakthrough, it always looks obvious. But before someone shows you the frame and changes the rules and reveals the missing assumption, it feels impossible. So when people learn about immersive communities like Elysium, they ask, how could a place like this exist? How could I ever afford it? And it sounds impossible until it doesn't. Until the frame changes and the proverbial egg stands. Elysium's a housing breakthrough that's going to feel obvious after you see it. So here's my promise to you. In the next 40 minutes or so, I'm going to walk you through 3 secrets that'll show you why the old housing math doesn't make sense anymore, what replaces it, and the hidden metric that makes immersive communities affordable for you. Then I'm going to show you how to actually get your name on a private waitlist today to live there, before the first wave of spots are gone. Guys, this will be life-changing for many, and I'm super excited to share. So without further ado, let's dive right in with secret number 1. You've probably heard this phrase before, but location is no longer relevant. And neither is traditional real estate. And here's why. We built modern real estate around a single idea: live near your job. And that's why people pay insane premiums for cities. That's why commuting became normal and people trade their best years for a zip code. But here's the thing. The job market's seeing massive layoffs. AI is collapsing entire workforce segments. Meanwhile, things like remote work and online businesses are on the rise. And these dynamics are permanently changing the leverage. So if location stops being the differentiator, then all that's left is a heavy debt burden when you consider that the median home price in the US is $431,000, which means that a US household needs to earn $114,000 annually to afford that mortgage. You only needed $67,000 6 years ago. That's a 70% markup in 6 years. What that really means is that over 70% of US households can't afford the average home in a single income. And people, especially younger generations, delay getting a house, getting married, starting their lives, the things that our parents were able to do in their 20s. So let's do some real math here. Say you're earning that $114,000 a year, you qualify for a $400,000 mortgage, you'd be putting 42 to 45 hours a week on average for that kind of a salary, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics. You add a 55-minute daily commute on average, add an hour a day for morning prep, another hour for post-work recovery. That's 60 hours a week of energy that you expend directly or indirectly because of work obligations. And you power through that for 30 to 40 years on average. That adds up to 91 to 120,000 life hours in that time span. And you would have spent 2 full years of your life in traffic alone. It's not fun, but this math hides something really important. Your 8 hours of work influence the other 16 hours you have in the day in a very strange way. According to a 2023 Morning Consult survey, 73% of workers, 81% of Gen Z said they often or sometimes feel too tired after work to enjoy their personal life. In fact, we know that people spend twice as much social time on weekends, which suggests that the work week significantly suppresses social pursuits. That's logical, right? So what that actually feels like for people who work standard hours is that they end up organizing their weekdays almost entirely around work. And even their downtime is heavily influenced by the need to rest and prepare for the next workday. You stop doing things because you have the meeting later that day, or you can't go or stay out too late because you have work in the morning. We've all been there, right? So what's the real time cost of it all? It's that work doesn't cost you 8 hours a day. It costs you on average 13.5 hours a day, but you get paid for 8 of them. This is consistent with surveys by the BLS, which show that prime working age adults between mid-20s to their 40s average a little over 4 hours a day on leisure and sports, less than any other age group. And of those 4 hours, about 3 of them are in front of screens, TV, and social media. So when you subtract that, plus work, prep, recovery, traffic, and sleep, all you've got left are about 44,000 life hours to yourself in that 30-year time span, or about 5 years. And most of that is in front of screens. So what do you get for the 25 that you sacrificed? Well, we're talking about the median-priced home. Well, if we're talking about the median-priced home, then by now, you've spent $1.2 million in interest and principal on that $431,000 price, or $1.3 to $1.5 million when you factor in renovations and maintenance for that single-family home. And your body pays interest too. High cortisol, deadlines, stress, being sedentary at a desk. So for most people, the normal outcome looks like this: a 1 in 3 chance of being pre-diabetic, a 40% chance that you're on 5+ prescription drugs by retirement, and a life expectancy of around 78 years old. So here's what you actually get in exchange for all that. You've reached the young age of 65 with a paid-off house, 7 figures in equity, and 12 healthy years left to pursue your passion. You're finally winning. Is it worth it? As a matter of fact, if a genie came to you on your 65th birthday and said, you lose the house and wake up with $0 in your bank account, but I'll make you 30 years old again, would you say yes? If you answered yes, then consider that most people are doing the exact opposite right now. They're trading the 30 to 40 years of their life for something that they'd give up in a second just to have their youth and their life back. So what's the alternative? And this brings us to secret number 2. It's through housing that's based on experience, not location. In other words, it's achieved with experiential real estate communities. And that's where the frame changes. Where housing's value is no longer inside the box, it's what that box connects you to. So while traditional real estate sells empty square footages and finishes and focuses on the granite countertop and the washer dryer, experiential real estate focuses on the daily life ecosystem: trails, movement, familiar faces, wellness, events, food services, the things that actually shape how you feel on a random Tuesday. Think of places where people are just out, sitting in the square, bumping into friends, both kids and adults, playing, not because it's scheduled, but because the environment makes connection the default. That's a cool concept, right? And you might be thinking, that sounds amazing, but what does that actually look like? And I'll show you, but first with a fun little experiment. You guys ready? Imagine some very mysterious man, probably over the internet, gave you the ability to choose a completely new life and gave you 2 options. Option number 1, you could own a 10,000 square foot palace, free and clear. The only catch is that it's in the middle of the Sahara Desert, and while you do have things like AC, solar panels, and satellite internet, you live far away from civilization, all right? Or option number 2, you give up the palace, and instead you live in a cozy, ocean view cabin on a cruise that sails the world, and while you don't own the ship, you own a lifetime world traveler ticket. You get to visit multiple ports each week, meet new people, and feast for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. World cuisines, all included. You've got a gym, amenities, restaurants, entertainment on demand. And the best part of it all is that you can sell that lifetime ticket whenever you want. If you had to pick one of those options to live in for the rest of your life, which would it be? Own the huge palace or the lifetime world traveler ticket? If you picked option number 2, congratulations. You're getting experiential real estate. So here's what that would actually look like in a place like Elysium. Imagine a tech village with a complete greenhouse that serves complimentary organic meals several times a day in themed eateries with rotating cuisines. And imagine a car-light community that's scenic and fully walkable with zero motor noise pollution or emissions. A place that replaces asphalt roads with green, vibrant walkways, where you get free access to community Teslas whenever you need. That means a place that frees you from car payments forever. It's amazing, right? But experiential real estate is about more than just meal plans and free Teslas. It's about friends, family, and fun experiences. It's about healthier living and opportunities to learn, network, and grow. Elysium delivers that in a few really cool ways. For one, you'll have access to hundreds of acres of indoor and outdoor activity grounds, things like track and trails, cycling, water sports, fitness spaces, sauna and cold plunges, as well as hot bathhouses. It's a place with community-sourced entertainment where you could experience both spontaneous as well as scheduled events like resident improv comedy night, yoga classes, jiu-jitsu, baking, and anything you could think of. But imagine a place that also helps you grow professionally by putting you next to neighbors who are engineers, entrepreneurs, artists, thinkers, and doers, with organized resident workshops that would be pretty life-changing, right? But it takes more than meal plans, shared Teslas, fitness, and fun for a complete human experience, right? What about family life? This is the part we're really proud of. You've probably heard it said that it takes a village to raise a child. Elysium's designed to deliver that village support by default. With parent support groups, free K-8 schooling modeled after elite prep schools, outdoor play care for toddlers and teens where youth are safe to roam, learn, and have fun with friends. But there's more. Imagine a place that offers health and wellness services all included, with things like complimentary labs to track your goals and optimize health and aging, and an AI concierge that keeps you on track to live your healthiest life. And that brings me to the real magic of how Elysium becomes a community, how it weaves real connections between people. It does that by delivering a social ecosystem that incentivizes contribution and participation through a private community app with options for volunteering where you can make new friends while doing things like helping the community operate or hosting activities and events. And in exchange, you don't just get to form bonds with people, you'll receive actual living credits, meaning you could earn free months of living just for helping and having fun. And here's the coolest, most amazing, most out-of-the-box thing about all of it. Elysium residents can use that app to connect to shared community intelligence, which lets you ask, test, and compare live population data to figure out exact lifestyle variables that help you live your best life. It's like having a private life coach plus community brain that gives you the secrets to the healthiest and happiest residents within Elysium, and you can replicate their routines. That's amazing stuff, right? And so we're coming full circle here. You've got an idea about what's possible with experiential real estate. It's time to address the elephant in the room. How do we make something like this affordable for everyone? How does Elysium make the proverbial egg stand? And this brings us to secret number 3. The question isn't exactly about affordability, it's about this. The hidden metric that determines happiness is related to a concept we call experience yield. And that basically means the subjective value of an experience divided by its cost. It tells us how affordable something should be for it to feel amazing. And that's the key. So to really help you appreciate this concept, I'll give you an example using pizza, because who doesn't love pizza, right? So say a famous chef opens up a new spot close to you. And his signature is truffle butter mac and cheese, champagne Alfredo pizza. After waiting in line for about an hour, it's finally your turn to get a slice. Now, before I tell you the rest, pause for a second and rate your enthusiasm for this culinary masterpiece from 1 to 10. Good? Now, what if when it gets to your turn, you see that it's $100 a slice? Rate that from 1 to 10 again. Now, what if this pizza was 50 cents? Again, rate it from 1 to 10. Did it go up? You probably notice how the same thing becomes more or less amazing based on the price, which is the barrier to experience it, right? So there's a price threshold where something becomes really amazing or totally not worth it. We can all agree on that, right? So everything within Elysium passes through that filter. Not how much can we charge for this, but what's the high experience yield threshold for any given thing? But how can we achieve a high experience yield with real estate when everything is so expensive? The lumber, the steel, the labor. So to make this work, we applied the economics and scale of a cruise ship to real estate community, minus the fuel and the massive overhead. And so that lets us create a lot of valuable experiences for a marginal price difference. And to monetize it, we chose a hybrid between rent and ownership because pure ownership would be super expensive. And a pure rental wouldn't get people vested enough into the actual community experience. So the sweet spot, that middle ground, is something like a hybrid ownership model that gives residents a direct stake in the community, similar to having one of a limited number of those World Traveler tickets, like I mentioned in the previous cruise example. And the easiest way to understand it is by looking at it in terms of a new housing model compared with the old one. So with the old traditional way, you're buying a claim on the physical structure, the bricks and beams, and sometimes the dirt that it sits on. So with something like homeownership, you absorb all the repairs, maintenance, renovation costs, the debt interest that amounts to double the cost of a house if you're talking about a 30-year mortgage, property taxes forever, unless they pass a law repealing that, and homeowners insurance for life. Now, let's look at the new way of doing things with the Elysium model. Here, we change our relationship to real estate where we own the complete private access, again, like owning the lifetime ticket to a cabin on a cruise, and owning the access gives us most of the things we want from real estate without the things we don't. We want to live in it, have control over our own private space, our own privacy. We don't want to deal with hiring the maintenance and repair people, paying staff, dealing with the liability side. We want to be able to walk away from it and realize some equity when we do. We don't want the hassle of dealing with realtors or real estate attorneys. So with the new model, you get everything you want. A beautiful space that's exclusive to you, a sense of permanence and control. You get access to a premium community without needing $1 million. And you get equity that you can sell later by selling your ticket to Elysium. And here's what you don't have to worry about with access ownership. You don't deal with leaks, plumbing, renovations, or roof replacements. You don't deal with maintenance, insurance, natural disaster claims. As a matter of fact, if something ever happened to your unit, fire, flood, whatever, you get access to a new one. But I have to pause here to let you know that there's one use case that Elysium isn't for. It's not for absentee owners or Airbnb hosts. This is a community for people that want to live and be part of. It's not an investment or a rental scheme. That's what makes Elysium the paradigm shift. That's really cool stuff, right? So, if what you really want from real estate is a beautiful place to live, stability, flexibility, control, a higher standard of living, and the ability to pass it down or sell access to it without the high cost of a home, without spending most of your productive years paying mortgage debt, then this is exactly it. If you're still with me, I'm going to share a bonus secret behind the scenes with you guys, just between me and you. A lot of people ask us how we're doing the free Teslas. Like when we're talking about affordability, how could that work? So here's the backstory. When we priced the traditional suburban blueprint, the single most expensive amenity wasn't a pool or a gym or a mini golf course. It was parking, garages, asphalt, cart infrastructure, literally doubled construction cost estimates. And then we had this crazy idea. What if we just didn't build the parking? The answer wasn't what we would have ever expected. By limiting parking spaces and eliminating the need for an elevated car garage and providing a shared fleet of Teslas, we actually cut development costs by 35%, even after paying for Teslas that you get to use for free. We also preserve 60 acres of land, unlocking space for homes, agriculture, and beautiful communal amenities. We save on construction, you save on the cost of housing, and you also get the option to get rid of your car payments forever. That's a win-win-win. That's what we consider a super high experience yield situation. That's very cool, right? Now, I know you're thinking, okay, this sounds too amazing. What's the bad news? So here's the reality. There are 25 million people that missed out on real estate or that are shopping around for some alternate community like this. Elysium 1 has about 7,000 spaces. That's 7,000 tickets. But the amazing news is that if you're with me here today, you have the best chance that you will ever have to get in on it. And I'll tell you how. We talked about how location is a dead paradigm and how experiential real estate is the future. We talked about how experience yield is going to be the design philosophy for way better, more affordable communities. And we went over some of the things that Elysium offers. Organic farm-to-table meals, a car-light walkable community immersed in nature, shared Teslas, village-level family and children support, wellness, social joy, and tons of activities at your doorstep. We talked about networking opportunities and living around people that are doing amazing things in the world that can help you grow professionally. We talked about an epic digital life coach that maximizes your health and wellness outcomes, and living credits for participating and having fun. But trying to fit an entire housing revolution into a presentation is impossible, guys, because this isn't just a neighborhood. It's the future of living. And if you share our vision, if this is an idea that you want to see come true, if you want to wake up in Elysium one day, then we've put together something called the Elysium Founding Backer Application. When you apply to become a founding backer, here's what you get. You'll get the Dream Living Experience, which is an exclusive space within Elysium with a 3-year membership and forever renewal rights. It includes the exclusive path to become a full access owner or a full ticket owner and unlocks lifetime equity. I'll give you a cost breakdown in just a moment, but that's about $45,000 a year value. You also get the organic dining meal plan. That's 2 free daily organic chef-created meals grown in our 10-acre agri-hood with rotating cuisines from Mexican to Italian, 0 preservatives or pesticides. That's at least an $11,000 per year value. You get the Tesla Freedom Pass. That's up to 4 hours a day of complimentary Tesla access, and you can upgrade for more hours if you need it. Plus robo-taxi rides once approved. That means 0 car payments, insurance, or repairs for life. That's at least $4,800 a year value. You also get the Adventure and Wellness Pass. That's unlimited access to 100 plus acres of recreation, wellness, yoga, saunas, ninja courses, gyms and water sports, festivals, and so much more that I can name here. That's at least $13,600 a year value. You get 0 utilities forever, so you're going to be living on a solar-powered, high-efficient environment, free water, internet, and discounted electric bills for life. That's a $3,600 a year value. You also get access to free creative community schooling. That's a K-8 prep school modeled on first principles education, so small classes, innovation, and creativity labs, and it models elite prep schools to give your kids the top 1% foundation for the future. That's a $45,000 a year value, and most people couldn't even get into it. You get automatic eligibility for free First Light Initiative, where the first 200 children conceived and born in community grant you 12 months of $0 per person dues for every member in that household. That's actually insane. You also get flex living swaps, so you can move freely in between Elysium communities with future plans at Miami, Austin, Sedona, and more to come, without any realtor fees. That's a $1,200 a year value. You also get the Earn As You Live credits. You get rewarded with credits for teaching, hosting, volunteering. Your lifestyle actually pays you back and turns into free months of living each and every year. That's a $4,000 per year average value. You also get resident rebates. When you pay on time, you earn back an additional 10% in Elysium tokens. These are like points you can use within Elysium. You can use them for free months of living each year or save them up for the future. That's a $3,000 per year value. You get the AI concierge and community intelligence. That's tech that enhances the human experience. AI health optimization, quarterly biomarker testing, 60 plus labs included for free, and it analyzes over 17,000 lifestyle inputs for daily planning and peak wellness optimization. That's a $12,500 per year value, and it will outcompete the best celebrity coach. You get innovators access. That's front row access to workshops from resident scientists, engineers, entrepreneurs, shaping the future directly from within Elysium. You can live and learn shoulder to shoulder with people that will change the world. That's a $20,000 a year value. You get priority guest access. Bring family and friends for free and discounted stays, meals, and priority membership. And priority for membership, that's a $2,000 a year value. The total real-world value of all of this is over $159,700 per year, or over $13,000 per month lifestyle. But our focus at Elysium is mission. It's not money. We don't want you paying $13,000 a month. We want to achieve that heck yeah moment and hit that high experience yield threshold. At Elysium, you get all of that. The dream living experience, organic dining meal plan, the Tesla Freedom Pass, community adventure and wellness pass, zero utilities forever, creative community schooling, flex living swaps, earn as you live credits, resident rebates, AI concierge and community intelligence, innovators access, priority guest access. You get all of that starting at $1,925 a month for the loft studio, which comes out to about $1,730 after the 10% rebate for on-time payments. Now, you'll see pricing for the 1 and 2 bedroom units somewhere on this screen in just a moment, and we have plans to upgrade to 3 bedroom units in the future. You also have $499 per person dues each month. That covers the food, wellness, transportation, schooling, and amenities. And the last thing is a very reasonable yearly admin fee of $599. So instead of having a monthly HOA, you pay $599 once per year, and that covers everything. So I'll give you an example. If you're 2 people, you'd effectively be paying about $1,730 per person plus $499 times 2, which comes to about $2,700 or $1,350 per person. And that's to get you the shared Tesla that each of you can have, at least 2 meals a day, unlimited access to amenities, entertainment, health and wellness perks, networking events, and everything we talked about. That's life-changing numbers, right? So you've probably already signed up for the waitlist, meaning when the application window opens up to the general public, you receive a link via email based on your place in line. However, founding backers get to submit applications before the general public on that waitlist, meaning they'll get to move into Elysium at least a year or more ahead of everyone else. So imagine how much money you save for that extra year you get there. So you get to lock your place into Elysium, skip the line of millions of people, and get an amazing shot at securing one of 7,000 units. All you need to do today is make a fully refundable pledge equal to 1 month's membership, which will count as your deposit once you're ready to move in. Now, the current development time for Elysium 1 is estimated between Q4 of 2028 and Q2 of 2029. But I don't want you to make a decision right now. You can put the pledge today just to guarantee your spot right now, and it's fully refundable within 3 months. So if you change your mind for any reason, you get your money back. But if you like the idea of living in Elysium, you should see a button below to become a founding backer, put in that 100% refundable deposit, and make that decision 90 days from now. You don't need to think about it right now. Also, if your application isn't approved to live in Elysium for any reason, even after the 3 months, you'll still have the option for a full refund that has no expiration limit in cases of not being approved. Meaning, if Elysium isn't for you, we don't want your money. Fair enough, right? Now, I know some of you are probably thinking, why did we do it this way? And the reason is pretty simple. We didn't want to go to private equity or venture capital. We didn't want to make this project about Wall Street. Elysium is for community. We want to go directly to the people that this project is intended to serve. That's why we're coming to you directly. So by becoming a founding backer, that gives us the leverage that we need to do exactly that. As a matter of fact, it would be way more expensive if we charged you $1 instead of $10,000. Because on $1, we basically would need to sell ourselves to some venture capital firm, and the focus then would become profit and not people. Makes sense, right? So when you become a founding backer today, over the next 3 months and beyond, you get to know us personally, you get to join us on our monthly digital town halls, and receive invitations to live groups, and receive invitations to live Q&As with the founding team. You also get exclusive access to follow our progress in real time. That's what's really going to help you make that decision in the next 90 days. It's very cool stuff, right? If all of that sounds amazing to you, there's one last thing that I haven't shared with you yet. If you're watching this, when you save your spot today, you're going to receive a one-time invitation to something that'll double the lifetime value of all the perks that you get from being a founding backer. And I promise, we won't be able to offer this ever again. So when you put your refundable pledge today, you'll have the option to upgrade to a founding builder, which gives you a free first person for life, meaning you'll get the $499 per person dues waived for the first person of a household for life. So if you're only one person, you get them waived forever. That's a recurring $6,000 discount for life. You also get your resident rebates supercharged. So founding builders earn 15% back instead of 10% for the first 5 years, and then it goes to 12% for every year after that for life. That means more tokens, more free months of living at Elysium for you. You also get an earn as you live multiplier, meaning every credit, reward, and token that you earn from participation, volunteering, and having fun, that means you get an extra 10% lifetime boost. It means more Elysium tokens, more free living months or credits that you can spend in community. You also get no reapplication needed, meaning you can leave and return to Elysium at will, where everybody else would have to go back on a multi-year reentry list. As a founding builder, you also get a one-on-one meet and greet directly with the founding team. That's myself and our founding members, because we'd love to hear more about you and what you liked about Elysium. So if you're interested to upgrading to a founding builder, all you have to do is click upgrade to founding builder. You'll see the option somewhere on the screen. It'll ask you to put an additional 2 months deposit pledge equal to your monthly dues anytime within the next 12 months, meaning you just toggle the option founding builder. You'll have 12 months and you can decide when to make those additional 2 months. So it's nothing that you have to pay today, but you can lock it in today. And it's also fully refundable within the next 3 months if you do it before 3 months. Here's the important thing. If you don't, or you can't make those additional 2 months pledges within the next 12 months, that's not an issue, zero problem. You automatically keep your founding backer status. You just forfeit the founding builder bonuses. So we want to give you guys a little bit of grace to jump on them. It'll more than pay for itself, but if you can't within 12 months, we totally understand. So again, you click the upgrade to founding builder. If you like those bonuses, it'll ask you to schedule 2 additional pledge deposits anytime within your choosing of the next 12 months. Okay? Now, as you probably guessed, we can't have too many founding builders because that's something that would be pretty costly in the long term, but it's something that we want to sweeten the deal and really give back to people who are ready to go all in on Elysium. All right, so anyway, that's basically it, guys. Those are the numbers. You're going to see a breakdown on the screen with all the options that you have. And while we do that, I'm going to keep this presentation open and I'm going to do a Q&A with some of the frequently asked questions that we do get. All right, so question number 1, how much are the 1 and 2 bedroom units for the month? So the studio and loft are $19.25 a month. The 1 bedroom is $25.30 and the 2 bedroom is $31.35. This is before the 10% rebate you get for on-time payments, or it's 12 to 15% if you take the founding builder bonus. So here's a fully transparent cost of what you'd expect to be spending per month. Let's say you get the 1 bedroom. Your running monthly dues are going to be about $25.30, which comes to $20.77 a month, plus the $4.99 per person dues. So let's say you're 2 people, that's $9.98 plus $2.27. You're spending about $32.75, and like I said, baked into that cost is the dining 2 meals a day, at least twice a day for both of you, the car, the amenities, all the other benefits thrown over. So for example, if you spend $15 a person when you go out to eat, that's easily $900 a month. You both get access to shared Teslas whenever you need, so that's 4 hours a day for both of you. It's not 4 hours between both of you, so you can have 8 hours a day between the 2 of you. Without going into the other perks like the education, entertainment, gyms, networking. I mean, you've way broken even and are deep in profit when you factor in all the other lifestyle perks. It's important to look at that when you do your total cost analysis of what makes sense for you. All right. So let's go to next question. Question number 2. So question number 2, what happens after 3 months? After 3 months, your money's committed to the down payment on the actual build out as well as the pre-built costs. So that includes the site surveys, environmental studies, urban and zoning compliance, and all the fun stuff. And in exchange, you'll receive Elysium tokens equal to the amount of your deposit, whether it's 1 or 3 months if you upgrade to a founding builder. And those tokens are decentralized and something that you hold entirely dependent of us. You control them, not us. So those tokens are what you're going to use to pay your monthly membership dues. Make sense? And if you guys have additional questions, by the way, after this, there's a live chat with humans and AI that can answer your questions and give you examples and breakdown of how things work. All right. So anyway, question number 3, how do Elysium tokens work? So the Elysium tokens are like credits that power the experience within Elysium. They power the membership contracts. They're how we pay out incentives and give rebates, and they're contractually exchangeable with Elysium for monthly membership dues. So on your end, it's something that's managed entirely on the app, the same way that you open up your Cash App or PayPal or Coinbase. You just swipe, pay your monthly membership, and it's done. The reasons we do tokens is that membership dues within Elysium will always be the same amount of points. But the cost of tokens eventually goes up, right? That's because of inflation. But let's say you have savings and you want to lock in a certain cost of living for the next 10 years, then you could literally buy 10 years worth of your tokens and be locked in at that price of membership for the next 10 years or for life. I mean, you could literally do that. You can't do that with any other model, right? And the way that we make that possible is that it's decentralized. You own it, not us. and it's tradable. If you move, you can sell those to somebody else on that waitlist. There's a dedicated video on the Elysium website, and you can learn more about that. All right, next question. Question number 4. How does access ownership work? In Elysium, you have the monthly cost of space, which varies from a studio to a 2 or eventually a 3-bedroom, and you have the per-person dues when you become a full access owner. Now, when you become a full access owner, your cost of space goes down to $0 per month, and you only pay the yearly admin fee and the per-person dues. So, for example, on the studio or the loft, your $19.25 per month goes to $0. You just pay the $4.99 per-person dues each month. Now, to become an access owner, you'd need to buy out the lifetime access. So, similar to the lifetime cruise ticket that I gave you earlier in the video, and this would be comparable to like a super affordable apartment. Now, we'll be sharing the cost breakdown at a later date, but it'll be way cheaper than something you get at market rate for very reasonable apartment when you factor in cost of living and everything else that you get. If you're interested in access ownership, we'll be releasing updates in the intermediate term, and you're welcome to reach out to us if you have any questions about that. All right, question number 5. So this is a good philosophical question. Isn't this just too good to be true? That's a totally fair question. So let's flip it a second. Isn't the normal world too bad to be true? I mean, if you think about it, you work 40 plus years, you give most of your income to landlords, banks, and bills, and you retire exhausted with a shoebox of memories. So from our perspective, Elysium isn't too good to be true. I think it's just what we should have. We've been accustomed to a lot less. We've been accustomed to the bare minimum. As a matter of fact, if you adjust what people made in 1970 compared to today, you would have been making $65 to $200 an hour, right? Think about that for a second. A carpenter on a single income could buy a house, car, provide for a family of 4, and afford to go on vacation, where now that's basically not possible, even with 2 people working, for most people. And here's the key thing. Everything in Elysium already exists or existed. The blue zones, solar villages, regenerative farms for food, cruise ships for economics and scale and entertainment. So all we've done is we've just stitched it together into one amazing community. That's cool stuff, right? Next question. Here's a good one. What if I'm not able to move in by the time that it's open? First of all, you're not moving in tomorrow. You have until Q4 of 2028 at least before the community opens up. So right now, you're not deciding where you'll live forever. You're just simply deciding to hold your spot in line. That's it. You're saying, I love this place. I want to make sure that I have a spot and not be priced out of it. And that's it. Second, you can sell your place in line or your tokens either or if you change your mind or you just can't. So worst comes to worst, you can sell your place in line or your tokens, either or. But let me give you an important idea of why this is important. After launch, our estimated wait time for people to come into the community is between 3 to 8 years. So with everything, there are always going to be people that are going to be looking for ways to skip some part of that line. So the short answer, you don't need to worry about that now. You're getting way ahead of that 3 to 8 year wait period. As a founding backer, you're going to get in at least 1 year earlier than the earliest people, and you've got a couple of years to decide that. So if you change your mind for whatever reason, you reach out to support, especially if it's within the first 3 months, and no questions back, we give you your money back. All right? So guys, that's pretty much it. I appreciate you taking the time with me. We're so excited about Elysium. If you love this idea as much as we do, then join us. Become a founding backer today. You don't need to think about it right now. Secure your spot before you get lost in an endless waitlist and make that decision later. Join us on our town halls, have a chat with us, give us your feedback, and we'll see you in Elysium. Thanks so much, guys.